Hello everyone, this is Team CSE7 BART Loggers, and this is our demo for the Bay Area Rapid Transit Operation Control Center Shift Log Workbench. So for this demo, we are the managers, and so once we initiate the app, we would be directed to the login page. So obviously we don't have an account, so we would have to register. So the register page consists of the username, email, and password. We can go ahead and create our username, our email, or input our email, create our password, and our password is safely secured and encrypted into our database. So once we create our password and our email, we would then successfully log in into the application. So once we are logged in, we would be directed into the view log page. So the view log page is kind of like the page where all of the logs are being stored. So as you can see, each column has a category. So the first column consists of the log ID. So it's a identification number that helps identify each log. The second column shows the managers that were responsible for that specific log. The third column shows a small description of the log. The fourth column shows the timestamp, so when that specific event took place, the revenue date, and then this column shows whether the police department or the BART Police Department was involved in this event. And then this column shows the tags. So a tag is kind of like a categorization tool, so it helps us categorize each log into these small tags. This column shows any reference numbers, so we can reference past logs or events through their log ID. And this final column shows any attachments that were attached to a specific log. So on the top, as you can see up here, there's different buttons. So there's different methods to search for specific logs. So we have this small calendar where we can search for logs in a specific date. We can also see today's logs, so the logs that took place in today's date, and then this button shows all of the logs. And then as you can see on top of each column, there is a search bar, so we can search for a specific event with that specific category. So we can search an event with a login ID. We can search for an event or a log with a specific manager, and then we can also do nested searching. So if we want to find a manager with like Frankie, for example, we can also search for a description or an event that involved the crash, or that Frankie wrote that involved the crash. So as you can see, we wrote crash and shows all of the events with Frankie and a crash. And then that also works with even more nested searches with these. And then if we want to write a new log, we would go ahead and click this button, new log, and it will redirect us into the editor page. So the editor page consists of a small section where we can insert the time. So if we want to write an event that took place at 3 a.m., we would go ahead and write that here. The reference box, so the reference box, we would reference another event. So if this event is related to that specific, like a past event, we would reference that other log with an ID. So if we want to reference to that first log, we would write their ID number here, but in this case we're not. And then this main text editor has a lot of features. So for example, we can write an event related to derailment at Berryessa station. And as you can see, we have an option to increase text, enlarge it, make it smaller, and etc. We have an option to bold text, italicize, underline text, include special characters, change colors, highlight, include bullet points, include numbers or number bullet points, and we can indent, unindent, we can align text, center text, and include any attachments. So if we want to include like external file, we can do so. We can also make it into special text, so we can make it into like a code text. And yeah, and then if the manager wants to have like a shortcut, we implemented snippets, so we can go ahead and use control C, for example, in our keyboard, and a small shortcut would come out. So like a small kind of like snippet, and there's different snippets that we can use. But for this example, we can keep it short. And then this section also it's the tag section, so we can include any tags. So for example, our example included derailment, so we can include a tag that's related to derailment and categorize this whole log with derailment or with the tag derailment. And then this button, we can check it if the police department was involved. For this example, we can say it was. And then we can go ahead and submit that. And then we can see all logs, and you can see that that log was registered by me, so Francisco, and all of the information is successfully stored into the database. And then this button up here shows the current user that's using the application, and the email that the user is under in, and the logout button. And yeah, we successfully logged out, which is great. And yeah, that concludes our small demo of our application. Thank you for listening.